thanks everyone for coming. And thank you very much, everybody, for sending me such wonderful characters and backstory for characters. Everything is great.
Good thing.
I obviously read everything everyone sent me, but I don't know if everyone else had the time to. So if people wanted to very quickly introduce their characters for the benefit of everybody else, and who knows, the adoring public who Ron might be sharing this with. So perhaps, Rod, do you want to introduce Christabel?
Okay, so Christabel is 5'0", blonde, with a big, like her hair is in a big braid that typically hangs over the front, like a cartoon big braid, like gigantic Crystal Gale hair. That's for the old folks in the audience. And I'm honestly strongly considering going with the classic overalls with one thing unpinned, tank top, and cowboy boots to just ride the stereotypes straight into the ground.
To add to that image, is she carrying a weapon that is properly suited to a fantasy role-playing game?
Yes, exactly. She has a crossbow. And a spear, sometimes.
Excellent.
Shining Star is an elf with strawberry blonde hair that's ragged and tangled, and she's got new clothes that are real plain. She's got a bow, and she's got a lute. Like, not a bag of loot, but the instrument, the lute, and is personable enough, although quite she's slovenly and rude at this point, and that may be an attitudinal issue at the moment and a circumstance. So should we... Oh, she is of average height, and that's on the human scale, so she's about, in English, 5'5", and she is very thin. Prison wasn't good to her. She's skinny at this time.
And finally, and as a special treat for Ron, Robbie, would you like to describe Girl?
Girl is tall by human standards and also heavy. She has a markedly low voice, deep, resonant voice. She has dark brown eyes, white hair that she has cut as a crew cut. And in fact, the Serpentines, when she was conducting raids against them, marked her as the warrior banshee with the cap of white. And I think legends of her effectiveness against them still circulate against the Serpentines. She now wears, I imagine that when she escaped her enslavement, she kind of was eager to ditch the clothes that she had to wear. And so she now wears a kind of supple leather tunic and pants that are somewhat loose fitting for her. And she has strapped on a hand axe that is both a weapon, but also seems like it would be useful for chopping other things aside from opponents, and also has a dagger with her. Yeah, she also she does have part of her right ear that is missing. Right. One thing I pointed out about that I didn't remind you of is that during her enslavement, she fell in love with somebody who, when he was also going off to fight in the war, he got so racked with guilt at being kind of forced to kill that he had committed suicide, and she did a kind of hasty burial. And she's known for her being very emotional as well as violent, but she kind of took a piece of his ear as a memento that she had tanned, and now she carries around her neck. But in return, she also sliced off part of her ear to leave in her lover's grave.
I heard resonant and supple. Do you think you could kind of fill in the parts I missed?
I actually have a physical question. Does her being a wolfling imply that she always has little pointy ears and fangs? Need to know for.
I don't know that she always has
I mean,
fangs.
I'm gonna
I
that
think
way
she.
anyway.
Yeah, I do think she has I think physical characteristics that might tip you off that as being not kind of straight human.
Okay.
I've got the fantasy elf thing going.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I've been thinking of you as like really giant anime elf ears, honestly.
I don't know. I mean, they got
I don't know
pictures
how
in the
you
book.
feel.
Go with. You're the artist. You know, this is the artist rules. We take it and like it.
That's right, I am.
Cool.
I was
Thank you
just
very much.
trying to be diplomatic and do what I want, but
Right. I've taken the liberty of deciding where we're all going to start.
okay.
And Ron, in particular, I have taken a bit of liberty in deciding that your family have a big manor outside Smith City, which is, for people who are following along at home, just kind of north of Hillfolk territory, about there.
Okay.
Yep.
So Smith City is in Hillfolk territory, but it's not really a Hillfolky sort of place. It's full of, as you may imagine, smiths and metalworkers, inventors, that sort of thing. Possibly the sort of people who've built multi-step canal going through the mountains and down to the sea and things like that. Big engineering, and then little clockwork engineering, all that sort of thing. Which is why the Starry Night family have a lot of business interests there, importing and exporting useful materials and inventions and things into the Elven Empire.
Yeah, we're technically, part of the Elven Empire, but we're living out there in, one of their extended little areas of minor influence. Yeah.
Yeah, my feeling is the Empire has influence here, but not control necessarily.
Right.
Although,
no, I got you.
So you don't argue with empires if you can avoid it.
Beautiful.
So, other people have other reasons to be in Smith City. War is coming between the nomads and the hillfolk again, people believe. And many hillfolk families and their livestock and horses and cattle are all streaming north across hillfolk territory and seeking shelter in the north around Smith City. And escaping wolfling rangers may well have been swept along in their journey back out of nomad territory with this. And hillfolk escaped prisoners who've been pursued across many inhospitable bits of the region and emerged from underground tunnels have also been carried along with this stream of humanity heading north.
Interesting.
If that's right with everyone. It seemed like a good way to bring everyone together.
Yeah.
You are all therefore in Smith City or in the surroundings, the large refugee camp that is taking increasing amounts of space up on the river across the river south of the city, as they're trying to avoid letting all these people and particularly all these people drive all their livestock through the city. And so there are wagons and makeshift tents and things like that. I have a picture if people are interested. As far as I can see, of wagons, temporary stables for cattle and horses, all this sort of thing. And much of it around the coaching inn, the Wyvern Arms, which used to sit a kilometre outside the city and is now surrounded by temporary refugee shantytowns and tents. So, amid this mass of humanity, some people stand out because they are tall with white hair, or someone who many of the hillfolk know, or just because they're an elf in the predominantly human hill folk communities around here. So you all know each other, and you've all had at least time to talk to each other, I feel.
All right.
Because as women at a bit of a crossroads in life, I feel you probably found it useful to have someone to talk to. And because I didn't see any reason not to at least say you know each other.
I have a thought, which was we could have met at a campfire sing-along of some sort.
I was going to suggest exactly along those lines, that if anybody plays music, as hill folk have been known to do when they gather, I mean, everybody does when they gather, but hill folk especially do it when they gather. And I fascinated by the strumming, would be happy to add the eldritch strains of elfy harmony.
Basically kind of a Joni Mitchell thing, probably.
I was wondering about this, actually. I mean, I really like bluegrass has this wonderful sort of adaptive quality. If you add anything to it, you still get more bluegrass, and which is a good thing. And I kind of like that. So I was interested in making an entertain roll.
That sounds like an excellent idea. So let's set the scene. I guess it's kind of sundown, maybe a little bit later. You're around, many people around a campfire. Shining Star maybe has gathered a little bit of an audience. It sounds like.
Well, actually, I'm kind of plucking along with other people who are playing. I actually am not jumping out, in a Star is Born fashion. Cool, sounds good to me. Yeah. Probably earlier in the evening, then you would have heard the stirring ballad of Naomi D, who is a folk hero and a politician within the hill folk communities. And so everybody, okay, stirring ballad, sure.
I don't know what Christabel may have felt about that, since it's.
I assume she'll tactfully seethe to herself while that's happening.
Cool. Yes. So.
Should I try the roll?
Yes. Entertain rolls.
Yes. Now, sadly, I am.
Are you seeking to achieve something with this entertain roll?
I'm actually attempting to. Yes, I am attempting to. Get myself an employer. I'd like to be able to. Actually, I want to earn some coin. Not an employer.
Well,
I want people
to that one. So.
And if it's not coin, then whatever can be. Especially it's a refugee camp. People are not, even if they have money tucked away, they're not going to pull it out and throw it at people. So I'm going to suggest that I'm looking for the equivalent of money, stuff that you could use to get stuff with. So we'll just call it money. So now I'm wearing plain clothes, and I'm sad to say that I'm honest enough to admit that I don't get my full charm because of this.
So that's an interesting question. I think that only applies to charm rolls, not to rolls associated with skills that.
I see. Okay, well, I accept. I wholeheartedly accept.
That would be my interpretation. It's specifically charming people where you need to be dressed.
Perfect. You're right. And I am not attempting to charm people. This is pure music. As a matter of fact, hanging with the hill folk is doing nothing for my recovering manners. So I have already hawked at least one loogie in full public.
Okay.
Right.
Ooh.
So,
I may have to correct myself.
Don't look it up. Don't look it up. I was feeling good.
Go with it for now.
So our very first roll is going to be a rules bork? Is that what you're telling me?
Okay, we'll go with you get the limitation from your clothes on the roll, but because this is a refugee camp, people are less likely to judge you on this. You're getting a +2 class column shift.
All right. Well, I have rolled pleasantly. I have rolled what appears to be, wow, I'm going to make sure that I did this right. Yeah, I'm on the odd side of the die, all right. I'm not misreading it. That is indeed a bona fide 94. And so I'm at an effective charm of 10.
Ooh.
And if I'm not mistaken, that gives me... Oh, shit. By 1 percentage point, I miss awesome. So I don't get to check my... I don't get to check my skill. But I do get a superior result.
No problem.
Okay.
Well, if we want to catch up, Robbie was just looking for rumors of.
Oh, did you
Yeah.
did you hear my result?
We did hear your result. You got a superior, which I was about to bump up to an awesome for you as
a column shift. Ooh.
As a column shift, yes, on the basis that in a refugee camp, although you're.
Well, I love being awesome. I still don't get a check. Yeah.
You don't get a check mark, but you do get the result as an awesome roll.
So how many coins do I get? Because that's like how many column shifts. I don't know how good I was supposed to be to get even 1 coin.
Yeah, so you need to your roll versus passable.
Okay, so 1, 2.
So I think that gives you passable good, great.
It's a
Superior
4-column success.
You count both of them,
Oh, you mean
passable
like
and awesome, just to be confusing. So you get 5 columns of success, or a 5. My cheat sheet does explain how all this works, which is why it's taking so long to write it. Which means you get that times 2 in coins, so that is the equivalent in barter and trade or something of 10 bronze coins.
working on those new clothes.
Although for now, I was going to suggest that what you in fact get is welcoming into the encampment of Lucky Luke Crawford, one of the
Lucky Luke Crawford.
one of the hill folk people around here. He's a nice chap, tall, quite slim, with a bit of limp in one leg.
Got it.
And he's a big music fan. And like your singing, I want to know a bit more about what it sounded like.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not a singer so much as as a strummer. So what I did was in their kind of I think they were doing sort of one of these I think they were doing sort of one of these kind of quick picking pieces, you know, it gets everybody's toes tapping, kind of cheerful thing. And what I did was add these real offbeat kind of held chords that kind of smoothed it out and gave it an eerie quality behind it, sort of laying down a weird rhythm section that this was on top of. And so it made the person picking sound really good. I mean, they were good, but it made them really stand out with this cool background underlying it. So,
But you didn't sing. No star quality type thing.
no. As a matter of fact, I do a character establishing moment, and you know, like when I finish, you know, I'll even do like a thing where I finish and I'll like looks like I feel like I didn't do very well, and I'll look up and say, well, shit, you know, as if you know, oh, that's all I got, you know. Shit.
You're not. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So and so that's kind of my shtick at the moment. I'm rude and, you know, not really accepting. However, it's she's charming, so it comes off well. Yeah. Is the thing. It
comes off as self-effacing and
maybe genuinely non-arrogant. You know.
Yeah.
Fuck it all. Anyway, so that's a whole bunch of time on that. I'm shutting up. Robbie, what'd you do?